Welcome, and thank you for joining us for another beautifully blessed, peaceful, prosperous, productive, and phenomenally powerful night. We are your hosts, Tori the Barber, the one and only, the only one under the sun, and the man with the plan, the man, the myth, the legend, Free, Will, Code.
What's happening? Yo. Man, welcome back, and thank you for joining us for another edition of the FreeWill podcast, where we create a community that normalizes growth for people like you and me, so we could be the best versions of ourselves. What's happening to how you doing today, man?
Man, what's happening?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. I want to tell them like what I mean when I say like the best versions or not the best versions of ourselves. People like you and me, right? Like one of our goals was to build a community where we can kind of create resources. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of people that want to grow that kind of come from where we come from, which is not, maybe not the most fortunate places. They don't know where to go. They don't have, they can't just go down the street and get information, or they can't pick up the phone and just call somebody, right? So, I want that to be a source, as we grow and as we create this thing and run it the way we want to run it. It's definitely going to become that, man. So we can create a community for that, right? But man, without further ado, man, what's happening to how you feeling today, bro?
Wow, what's down with your cool, baby? I'm cooling. Man, hey, man, it's another beautiful day. It's another beautiful night. And, man, I'm just happy to be here, man. How you feeling today? How was your day? Talk to me. Walk with me.
Yeah, man, I'm feeling great, man. Today felt really good. Today felt like a pivotal moment in my life, right? And I have those often, or as often as I'm willing to grow, I have those moments. So that's always a good thing. Like, it wasn't necessarily a happy day at first until it comes to but that's okay. Every day's not gonna be happy, but man, I felt good. I'm really grateful for the day. It all in all, it was a great one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What about you, man? How was your day today?
Man, my day was a
busy, huh? Them kids back in school. Them kids is back in school, bro. They want them haircuts.
Crazy thing about that is my kid clients, I did service them, but the kids make up probably like 10% of my clientele. I don't have a whole bunch of kids, so I'm primarily adults, and I'm grateful for that too. I'm grateful for whoever whoever name slide across my desk. But man, it was definitely a busy day. This weekend was definitely a busy weekend, productive weekend. Tomorrow I'm wrapping it up, and it's just a wonderful day, wonderful position to be in. Today was a great day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it just was a liberating weekend. I think the wrap this week up, it was just doing what we needed to do, having some conversations that need to be had, having some breakthroughs, and it just felt like a really, really great weekend. It felt like an empowering weekend. So yeah, all in all, overall, my day was great. My day was great.
Awesome, man. That's great, man. First things first, I'm grateful.
Yes, sir.
Truly grateful. We gotta put God first. He is all in all. The reason for everything, the reason why I'm here, the reason why I got whatever I got going on, and the privileges, any privileges I have, or just that privileges. I appreciate that. I appreciate my circle. First and foremost, the people closest to me, man. I really appreciate Toe. He's the man, the myth, the legend. You know what I'm saying? The one and only one, the son. You heard me. I appreciate my lady. She my backbone. You know what I'm saying? My little tink. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate my family, my mama. I woke up this morning, man. I had the breath of fresh air, and I'm just grateful for being able to move on, move forward. Like, I actually make progress. Like, I could actually look back and be like, man, I'm not where I was yesterday or day before that or last year. And that's truly a blessing, man. Like, I see, and I know we know a lot of people that it's just kind of stuck, just the same old. Like, every time you talk to them, it's just like, oh, same old. Like, that's like a saying that we have, bro. It's not really I don't want to live
same.
my life like that, you know.
Yeah.
I don't really judge, but I don't live my life like that, man. What about you, man? What you grateful for?
Oh man, all praises to the Most High. Gotta put God first, man. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that because this week to end like it ended, and for the majority of my clientele to be like, to be adult based. I would say that God definitely let me know He listening. You know what I'm saying? Just communicating with Him and being open about what I want, what I expect for myself, and I believe this week was a manifestation of that. So I'm thankful for that. So man, I'm super duper grateful and blessed for that, and having my family, my support system, my lady, the first lady, the one and only lady. In the mother house, you heard me? You know what I'm saying? I gotta put on a map. Yeah,
shout out.
And
shout out to the
man,
first
and
lady.
just, I'm so thankful for her because
she one of them.
We thankful for her because she has become super instrumental. Like she's becoming like one of the fundamental pieces of FreeWill, man, and she's just always there supportive. And she gonna tell you like it is. She gonna be straightforward about it, but you know that's what we be needing, dog. And so she been that, she be that, man. And also to your first lady too, you know what I'm saying? She gonna put it on the map and she gonna let you know what you need to know too, man. So I definitely want to give them a shout out. And support system, man. And also last but certainly not least, my clients, man. You know what I'm saying? Signing in as Tori the Barber. So gotta push y'all on the map. I won't forget y'all when we make it. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, y'all, it's just fundamental, man. So I'm thankful for each and every single one of y'all. Yeah, that believe in me, that invest in me so that I can invest into the FreeWill brand co, and we just make it happen and we continue to grow, man. Creating a community for people like me and you. We can become the best version of ourselves.
Yeah, I'll be doing that. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, man, I'm super duper thankful for that, man. I'm just thankful for us being here, dog. Again.
Hey, man, I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked, man. Man, I'm excited, bro, man. Let's go ahead on and drop that.
Word on the street. Word on the street. Word on the street.
Man, so I came across this video, right? A video of a woman. Looks like she mistaken a Amazon driver as a robber, right?
Yeah.
So looking at the video, it looks like she's gone and walking to the mailbox or whatever to check her mail or something like that. The Amazon driver pulls up and she takes off running for dear life. I'm talking about she drops her bag. She gets in the house, right? She's terrified. The guy, he exits his vehicle. He walks up like it's a normal day, drops his package, gets in the car and goes about his day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like I don't know what's wrong with you, but I'm doing my thing, right? Man, that's crazy, man. Tell what you think about that.
I ain't gonna even lie, like when I'm watching a video, it don't even necessarily seem like he peeped her freak out. He pulled up. Like I'm gonna tell y'all, I've done Amazon Flex before, and that's what he did, Amazon Flex driver. And so when you pull up, you getting your packages together, you pulling it out or whatever the case is, and then you making sure you got the address. So he probably ain't even want to see none of that, but she saw him and she freaked out. I don't know if she got PTSD, but I could tell it's nighttime, and at that time of night, it do look hella sketchy. This car just pull up, this random car you never seen in your neighborhood.
Right.
You know, people be peeping with cars come through the neighborhood after you stay there so long, and you stopping from my house. Right. So I ain't gonna lie, man, in a sense.
And you looking at it now, man, I can see like he just goes and he doesn't pay attention to the bag and on the ground at all. He just drops the package, takes his picture, and he goes on about his business. So he probably didn't even see her.
Yeah, he probably looked like he wasn't even. Yeah, he looked like he wasn't even worrying about it, but you know that just, I don't know, man. So when I saw it, I'm like, you know, it made me think, like, I wonder if she watch a little bit too much TV, or is she just like extra aware of her surroundings to where like she ain't taking no chances, and she just like, man, hold on, she just had a feeling, and so she just went with her instinct. So, but you know, all in all, I think I don't think she overreacted, because who's to say she wasn't at home by herself or whatever. She just did whatever she felt necessary in that moment to protect herself. So I don't know. At first, I was kind of
Right.
like, man, she did the most, but you gotta really look at it a little deeper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess it's like better safe than sorry, Like,
Yeah.
because I mean those things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's vans, and or whatever. And
Not
I don't know if the
Benzes.
guy had right. I don't know if the guy had tint on his vehicle to where she couldn't see what was going on or whatever. Because
Yeah.
I guess they have to wear. Do you guys have to, like you say, you did flex? They all have to wear the vest.
Yeah.
You have
But
to.
you can't
Okay.
if it's in the car, you can't really see it until you get out.
Right. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I
So
think it was just a time and place thing.
yeah. So we kind of didn't do this on purpose, but like it's really significant to the topic that we bring, right? Because that has a lot to say with your subconscious mind and your
Yeah.
experiences, right? And we kind of, I don't know, man. I think you want to introduce it because this topic kind of came from your first lady, right? And she brought it up, and I thought it was amazing, bro. I thought it was amazing, even like the way you put it, right? It's just like, what happened to you. So if you want to like
Yeah.
preface it, put us on game. What we talking about?
Yeah, man. So me and my lady do something. We have book dates, and pretty much what that is, you know what I'm saying. We either we go out. Sometimes we go to a restaurant. We do it. Sometimes we just do it at the crib. But we are on a book together, and we kind of got like the little mini book club thing. That's beside the point. But what we doing is we reading this book by Oprah Winfrey and Dr. Perry, and the name of this book is called "What Happened to You." And in the very, very beginning of this book, to kind of put it in a nutshell, you have this guy, not to spoil it, but there's this guy, and he served in the military, and he suffers with PTSD. And he had an experience where he was out on a date, and he was walking up the street with his date, and a car passed by. And if some of y'all ever heard cars with the exhaust that go pop, 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 pop. And so when the car rolled by and the exhaust went to going off, he like thought that he was like back into like war zone mode. And he like, one thing I know, like first thing I knew, I was like walking up the street, and then the next thing I knew, I was like ducking for cover, hiding under a car. And so he was extremely embarrassed. And so him and his lady went to therapy, and the therapist, he have a background in neuroscience, so he understands in depth how the brain works. He wasn't super experienced as a therapist yet, but he was able to explain to the man what was going on with him, not through talking about his traumas per se, but just how his mind worked and how his experiences contributed to why he reacted the way he reacted, based off of the way his brain processes information as it receives it. And so the man, and this is where the full circle come around, the man asked the therapist, what's wrong with me? He was like, I couldn't control it. It's like it just happened. Something else just took over me. Like, what's wrong with me? And he felt like something was wrong with him. And the therapist said, the question isn't what's wrong with you. The question is what happened to you. And so that pretty much is a prefix of, pretty much how we get to this topic, and pretty much to just kind of give you the generalized idea about this topic. I think in the community, we all experience things through our upbringing, you know what I'm saying, through our experiences, subconsciously and consciously. And it affects us, and it's a part of our stories. It becomes a part of our historical makeup as we experience each day to day. And so I think it's time for those who are watching this, it's time to self-reflect and ask yourself, what happened to me, to really kind of like dial in and get an understanding on, why I operate the way that I do. Why am I having the challenges that I have? You know what I'm saying? The hurdles that I have to overcome. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. What happened to you? So that's what we about to tap into. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
what you think about that, Cole?
Yeah, man, that is what I love the most about the overall question, like what happened to you, is it adds a different perspective, and I guess it can go two ways. It's like you can kind of victim that thing out, or you can just kind of empathize with yourself in a healthy way. Like, You know, like
Mm-hmm.
in a sense, who are you, and the why are you is the what happened to you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I'm gonna just, I'm gonna take this opportunity because I'm gonna take this opportunity to be like real transparent, because this is something that needs to, it's something that needs to happen often, right? And I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna use it in when I use it in a system is like how I analyze myself. Like, man, why you do that? Like, what happened to you in the way
Yeah.
that contributes to your actions and like how you move, man. So I love the topic, man. I love the concept of it, and I really want to dive into it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, when you hear the question of the sentence, but the question, what happened to you? What do you think? Like, what do you think when you hear that? And based off of the context, how do you feel when you hear it? What comes to mind? What emotions do you? What emotions and experiences surface once you hear that?
I think there's a lot of passcodes that need to be entered before I get to the true feeling. You know what I'm saying? I gotta unlock a couple of vaults.
Yeah.
And I have to go through a few emotions. I think the first couple of emotions are just because of my makeup. I have to, let me think. I think I just have to go through a when I have flashbacks, and I guess depending on the mindset I'm in now, it brings me to a certain flashback. So I guess the one that I'm thinking about now is like my childhood and the environment of where I grew up in, or where I grew up, like, and how I felt. And most of the time, to be honest, in my childhood, I felt like I had like a alone feeling, right? And kind of thinking about that now, like, probably most of it is because I was the firstborn, and it's just like wasn't no blueprint, wasn't no like big brother to follow. It was kind of only pops, right? And shout out to my dad. My dad was awesome. What he did show me was, or what he showed me was, how to really get it in. You know what I'm saying? That dude was a worker. You know what I'm saying? He. And I don't call him a worker. That's like not. He was a provider, and he made sure things was right. He made sure it was good, right? And like that was his thing, and I have that like experience to this day, right? So whenever it's time to take care of something, whenever it's time to maybe sacrifice my time or whatever for the betterment of the family or the good, I got that. I do that quick, right? Even if it's sacrificing myself, because that's something my dad did, right? He didn't really have too much time for himself, right? So that's something I struggle with, right? It's like, I never seen it. I ain't have it as an example, so, but I will do that providing quick, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
That's kind of just what came up here.
Yeah, I want to add to that. I want to actually explore that, if I may. Because with my personal experience with you, something that I realized recently, I learned. I was listening to a podcast. I'm a podcaster. Yeah. And we was talking, and it was talking about values. What kind of values do you possess? And the values that you operate off of subconsciously are the values of those who you came up under, your caretakers, your parents, what you experienced in the household. And you saying your dad was a make it happen kind of man, you know what I'm saying? He did what he had to do for the family, and even with the sacrificing himself. And we have some times where we may be throwing a shindig or something like that, and we trying to get you to come out or pop out of stuff, and you really put that on the back burner because you got your mission in front of you. Like, you got your goals, you got your business, you got like advancing is priority. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes popping out ain't so much about just pissing some time away. It's about, rejuvenating. You know what I'm saying? It's about taking some time off for yourself to fellowship with your loved ones, with your friends, your lady, you know what I'm saying? For us to pop out and do things. And so, a value that you have, I notice, is one that says, you know, I'm gonna prioritize, you know, work. I'm gonna prioritize whatever is defining advancing in my life. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's at the expense of, you know, personal time, family time, whatever time. You know what I'm saying? And I wonder if that's if you could like kind of reflect, if is that a thing based off of how you feel, what's the word? It's kind of like where you get your sense of value from, you know, your contribution, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I feel like if I'm occupied, I feel like if I'm working, I feel like if I'm, you know, got my head buried in my work, I'm in some way, form, or fashion making my contribution, because I know my goal in the long run is family. It's not just family, but it's, what's the word you use a lot? The generational word is like your what you do it for? The name legacy. Boom. It's legacy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sacrificing for legacy, and that's my contribution. And you guys may not see it or feel it now. You know, you may feel like you don't have me there, but it's because I'm out there making something happen so that we can all live a better life later. Do you feel like that's what it is for you to kind of like you subconsciously possessing those values that your dad had, if that's even accurate?
Yeah,
you can
man.
expound on that.
Without a doubt, bro. It's just, you know, that's just kind of how it works, right? Mm-hmm. And I had to really, cause I'm real like systematic in the way that I think about things, right? And I had to, like, the way that it was attached, like the way I had to allow myself to actually charge and rejuvenate is to, or like kind of detach is what I meant to say, is to apply the meaning of recharging and rejuvenating to even finish the goal in the first place.
Yeah.
So I think that once I was able to kind of connect that, you know, because in a way it still goes towards what needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? And I had to take that, you know, it's a lot of times, man, when you look back at things, right? And it's not always bad to, you know, because there was a time where, you know, I kind of look bad on the fact that my dad worked so much, right? I'm like, man, he's kind of never here. But I take that now and I value that, right? As an asset, and I one up it after that, right? I one up it, you know. I take it and I expound on it. One thing that he didn't have really good reflection time, because he didn't even have time to reflect, you know. So that's something that needs to be implemented, right? And I think that it became. I think that it became, and it's kind of our next point of the triggers, right? I kind of want to ask you some questions first, but
go for it when you're ready.
Yeah, I think that, and forgive me, y'all, for the thinking, because I don't. This is real time that I'm actually figuring through this thing. It's real time, right? You know, because the reflection thing is like you'll really see how your reflection time is by the way you figure through it, and you can see I may not have a lot of good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of good reflection time, man. But this thing is healthy, and it starts with the early on experiences, right? Sure. So, Toe, man, what about you, man? Like, how, when you think about, first of all, like, what feeling does it even give you when the question is presented? Hey, what happened to you? Just off of, like, if I was just to come out and ask you, hey, like, what happened to you? Like, what is that? How does that make you feel? And what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, I would say, without the context of the book, and you was just to, like, randomly ask me, like, what happened to you, I would probably naturally get some sort of offensive. Yeah. And like, you're like, what you mean? What happened to me? Like what? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you talking about? Right. And I think that's how I would naturally respond to it. But with the context of what we were referring to, what happened to you, how does it make me feel? I would say something that my lady told me the other night. She told me that I have a tendency to dehumanize myself, and so when I ask myself, I hear the question, "What happened to me?" I think about all of the reflections that I've gotten from other people, like, because the world is your mirror, believe it or not. Your relationships is the most direct mirror you can have. The person who you spend the most time with, your relationship, you know, who you go to sleep next to. You know, I look at my kids, I look at just the different areas and avenues of my life, and then, you know, it tells a story. So when I hear what happened to you, I think about how I'm showing up in those different aspects of my life. And if I'm showing up good, like, what about, you know, my makeup, you know, is contributing to the good and the bad? What about where I come from and what I've been through generate the bad that I do, my bad habits, or wherever I got that from? So yeah, when I hear that, that's what it does for me. It makes me think. It makes me start to humanize myself. And like something you said earlier, I loved was, it's two ways you can do it. It's two ways you can look at it. You could, you know, you can kind of, you know, take the excuse route and be like, well, this happened to me, that's why. Or you can take and you can look at it, you can reflect, and you can really try to get down to the bottom of, you know, like the real me, like the real parts of why I'm operating the way that I do, why I show up the way that I do. So yeah, that's what kind of come up to me naturally.
Yeah, man. And I think an important thing is to like, it's not like to think that to allow yourself to think that it's not just negative, you know. And the reason I asked that question is because we would immediately get negative about that, you know, for that question, right? Because that it's not what happened to you negatively, it's what happened to you, period. Where do you get your love from? Where do you get your laughs from? You know, where do you get your personality, your character? And all of that stuff plays a part, like, and it's important because you need to know who you are and know why you do those things. Should you ever have to manipulate or change them because you don't like it, or you want to upgrade it, or you know, evolve it, right? You need to know where it stems from so you can know how to treat it. That's with everything, right? You know, the abundance of knowledge comes from the root of the knowledge. You know, so I need to figure out the source so I can go and consult with the source, right? You know, maybe I get some from my dad, I need to go consult with him. I get some from my mama or my uncle, I need to go consult with him, or even just consult with the source of the thought, you know, so I can get a good starting space and not leave anything out and have like a bird's eye view of me and who I am and, you know, how I move, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that, you know, a lot of that stuff, speaking on the negative side of it, right? A lot of that stuff, because we think that way, it becomes triggers for us. You know, like you ask me, like, what happened to you? I'm like, what you mean what happened to me? Like, what happened to you? Like, cause you been tripping, like, you know what I mean? You know, and one of the reasons that we doing this right now is because, like, we need to, like, I'm ready to head up, face them things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want triggers. Like, I seen a lady talking about the guy, he was kind of expressing his emotions. He was like, man, I have buttons and they just be pushing the buttons. And the lady, it was very controversial, but she was like, to be honest, baby, I gotta tell you that you can remove that if you remove the buttons that's pushed in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like don't have the buttons out to where they can push it, right? And that stuff, there was a lot of comments I was reading. They're like, well, you can't remove your buttons. And that is, you can remove the buttons, you can't remove the experiences, but you can remove the button. Is the fact that it's like the button in it of itself is something that can be pushed, right? You know what I'm saying?
I can expound on that before you continue, sure. I would say the button in itself is more so. I would say the button in itself is more so the meaning attributed to it. I would say, because if you think about it, you know, when you have a trigger, when you have a button that is to be pressed, that's typically an infected wound, an invisible wound, and
an open wound,
you know what I'm saying, that haven't healed. And so when somebody hit it, it ain't even that they necessarily did something or said something wrong, because we take in the world, we experience the world, and we interpret it, and then from that is where our feelings and thoughts and emotions derive from, after we perceive it based off of the best way we can from our childhood and shit, like different things that contributed to those factors. But you know, what somebody else's does is just what somebody else's does. So I think it's the meaning that's attributed to it, and the lack of pretty much about, not even so much the meaning, but just the lack of healing in that whatever was said and done.
And even if they did, bro, like even if someone has ill intentions towards you, that still shouldn't affect the wound. You know what I'm saying? Like even like whether they go into it with band-aids or they go into it with a knife, it'll be different. The way you take it will be different. Whether you know what I'm saying, you know, if the wound is open or if it's closed, you know. And to give kind of context, like practicality to that is something that you have not talked about. Like an open wound is something you have not talked about, something that gets you emotional, something that you don't really know too much about, you don't have context on. That, guys, is an open wound. You know, like if you were able to bring up something that happened in my childhood, I'm like, I don't want to talk about it, right? That means that it's still like you deflecting. It means it's still open. Like that's not a. I think we kind of molded that into being a good thing, or like a safety mechanism that's good. It is a safety mechanism, but it's not good because like it has you in a chokehold. Anytime you have to, anytime you have to move or maneuver or even help somebody else with that, you can't. You know what I'm saying? You locked up with it, right? So,
Cole, I would say one of the first things that I realized, or not the first thing that I realized, but just something that I recently realized, is that when we experiencing things, oftentimes like people like to refer back, and I do it too even when we speaking, but we like to refer to the childhood trauma, mama issues, daddy issues, you know. But I realized that like you can, even at the age that I'm at right now, I'm still prone to experiencing some first time things that can create like a fresh emotional trauma, like a new trauma, like, you know what I'm saying. And you know, it ain't all about stemming from your childhood. Like you could be 50 years old and experience some sort of traumatic experience, and a trigger can derive from that, you know what I'm saying. And so that's just something that I had to realize, that it ain't always about looking all the way back, but sometimes it's what's happening right then and now.
So I want to ask you, Toe, like if you'd be willing to share, man, what are some of your triggers that you may either have now or that you had to overcome, or maybe one of your biggest ones? Like, what do you think?
All right, so give me a moment. Let me think about that. I would say triggers.
Something that gets you, something that gets that feeling in your chest, like, you know, that's how you know. After that chest get the heating up quick.
Damn, triggers. I would say
immediate anxiety.
I don't know. It's tough. I'm really trying to think, because I'm sure I have some triggers. Please, because you know.
I'll help you out. I'm gonna start with some of my triggers, and
okay.
I'm starting with some of my triggers, and maybe that'll, you know, because to be honest, they ugly. They always gonna be ugly. They're gonna be, you know what I'm saying? Because it's always something that, especially with us, because we in this space and we kind of uncovered a lot. The triggers, our triggers now is going to be something that will be kind of embarrassing to us. You know what I'm saying? So I think I'll start, right? So I think one of my triggers is something that makes me feel inadequate, right? And then it makes me feel inadequate because of my experience and my perception of my perception of my experiences for most of my life, right? Like I have this thing to where I believe that I'm supposed to have it the hard way, and I mess up a lot before I actually get to the the solution, the way that I would prefer to do it, right? And that kind of goes into with like me being a big brother. Like I messed up a lot of stuff first, and my siblings, they didn't really have to go through that, right? Like they seen, like I seen Cole do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm good on that, right?
Yeah.
And so, but a lot of that though, along with me not understanding it, I think that my environment didn't understand it. Like they didn't understand why I had to go, like why I had to lose my keys 2 and 3 times before I actually came up with a solution. You know, why I gotta read the book or I gotta go through it more than once for me to have a solution. So from that stemmed a feeling of being inadequate, like I'm not able to do it like everybody else is, right? You know, so anytime I feel that way, I get that feeling in my chest, bro. Like I feel like I have to sit there and give myself affirmations like, yo, remember we've been through this, bro. Like the way that happened is part of your purpose. You have other people in this world that came up like that, and you gotta show them you're like, even though it was hard, like actually doing it the hard way or not even purposefully, you have an advantage. Because if you have to go back there, or if stuff gets hard, then you familiar with this. Oh, this is my area right here. It's my territory. I know how I look. How I look now is not how it's gonna look in the end. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so,
if I could ask you though, Cole, real quick, like,
sure.
So I can understand the feeling that you get, but what in of itself actually triggers you? It's like when somebody do something, like you see your siblings do something or something, and when you're kind of called on to do something, or what actually activate that trigger?
Yeah, man, like it could be a lot of things, man. That's why I didn't give like a specific example. Like I guess I can get a specific example, but it's just anything that would point to me being like, it can even be a comment. Like, let me think about that. Okay, so that was a while back, right? It was a long time ago where I was living with moms, and I was just trying to figure stuff out, right? I was just kind of getting to the mode where I was trying to figure out this business stuff, because I know I didn't want to work the job stuff, right? So, and I was always the kind of person who I'm going to jump in the water quick without reading the instructions, without reading the manual. So when I jump in, I'm impulsive. I jump right into it. So it's like, I don't know what, like if anything popped up and it's like, I don't know what Cole doing, like that stuff look bad and I'm not gonna do it. And I'm actively messing up while it's happening. And a comment comes along like, I'm tripping. I ain't completely abandoned the story. So the story was, so at that time I was just doing a whole lot of stuff, right? And I wasn't making money or whatever. And so I wasn't able to help with the bills and stuff like that, right? And somebody, I think it was my little brother, right? We had got into it, and he was like, you don't do nothing. Like, when last time you did anything around here, such and such and such? And I'm like, I'm out here busting my tail. You know what I'm saying? But I'm busting my tail trying to figure it out. There's no what do you call that? Like evidence. You know what I'm saying? There's only evidence of struggle and not evidence of, any reward. You know what I'm saying?
Like you ain't you don't got nothing to show for your efforts of trying to figure it out.
Right, and that's kind of stuff was eating me up because I couldn't explain that. Like nobody wants to hear like I'm trying this, I'm trying that, I'm trying this, and I'm trying to figure this out. And once I figure this out, this gonna go here, right? And so I've developed a like it's like some like you get that like, or you bask in that so long to where you develop that maybe I'm not supposed to be. Maybe I should just go and get a regular job. Maybe I should just go and just be normal kind of thing. And normal to me is, just go get you an apartment right quick, work up the corporate ladder and just do that, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not I chose for that not to be my normal. But because I'm familiar with that and I basked in it for a long time, that's why it really became a trigger, because it triggers in a time of my life. It's what it really does. Right, I basked in it for a long time to where I'm feeling down. Like I think at that time I had lost my car. I was catching a bus to and from work, and everybody else had cars, right? And I'm feeling, you know what I'm saying? I'm sweating, getting home from work. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling down and out, right? I'm feeling like I couldn't get nothing right. So it triggers a time in my life, and I could, and it'll go back there really. You know what I'm saying, real easily, right? So, yeah, man. So, what about you, man? You
that was awesome. I done got lost in your story. I don't even think about mine. But man, I just triggers for me, man. I would say something that came up to me is how,
I think we lost him. I think we lost him. I don't know who that was. I don't know if that was me. I don't know if that was Toe. I don't know what's going on. My man about to get into the sauce too, the juice, the cheese cheddar, the mozzarella. Hold up. I'm gonna pause it right here.
One of those things for me, I would say is people like somebody else being around me angry is very contagious. Like emotions can be very contagious. Just like how you could be upset at somebody positive or happy walk in the room and it just lighten up the whole room and cheer you up. And I noticed, like, especially in like my closest relationships, if I'm communicating with somebody or whatever and they getting pissed off, they getting riled up, I don't know, man. It's just like, especially when I'm trying to, so I guess this would be really the bulk of it. When I'm really trying to explain something to get through to somebody, but emotions are high and they are totally blocking out everything that I'm trying to say. And in my mind, I'm being as simple and logical and just straightforward and not even aggressively straightforward, but I'm just giving it to you in the simplest way, but just straight up. And you just not processing it. You're more on the defensive side and you just kind of like deflecting and rejecting everything that I'm saying. So I guess it's like a communication breakdown. I think communication breakdowns are very, very triggering to me personally. You know what I'm saying? I would say that's probably like one of my number one triggers that pop out to me when I'm having communication breakdowns. Me trying to balance my emotions, you balancing your emotions, or the lack of us balancing our emotions. Both of us trying to be heard in a situation or something like that, and then shit just go to flying off the hinges, and now we just really not even communicating effectively. That's just one of my biggest triggers, you know what I'm saying, to where it get me to a point to where I'm like, I really gotta check myself, you know what I'm saying, and yeah, that'll be it for me.
So it sounds like I'm kind of help you refine this thing because you had to help me. Sounds like so is it the fact that you don't like somebody around you that's not really on the same page, really, like, say like you and they happy and somebody up and they upset and you can't really understand why they upset? Y'all can't like come to a common ground kind of thing? Like, is it just like,
I see where you're going with it. So it's
Yeah.
not so much that I was really trying to feel my way through it, but it's more
Yeah, for
so
sure, for
when
sure.
emotions get in between, like when emotions get in between the communication
Progress.
to where we're not even communicating. It's just anger or frustration and frustration. And so now everything I'm trying to explain to you, you're not hearing it, you don't want to hear it, or all you want me to hear is your point or your how you feel or whatever it is. And me, I feel like I understand what you're saying, but I'm letting you know that you shouldn't be feeling like that because you really misinterpreted what happened. But you don't want to hear me explain the misinterpretation. You want to just be stuck in how you thinking and how you feeling. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of takes me back to our effective communication thing. And that's just one of them things for me when we can't communicate effectively.
Yeah.
Just with whoever.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I think we kind of talked about this before, right? And I kind of had this a little bit too, like when I started to be able to navigate through my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Other people not being able to navigate through the emotions kind of became a pain point for me, right? Like let's kind of get to the, like, I don't want to have to go through your emotions before we get start to kind of work on this thing, right? And so that's kind of sound like it kind of sound like the buffering time kind of sounds like a trigger for you. Like you don't want to have to go through this buffering time before we actually start getting to the bacon kind of thing, right? Does that sound like about right?
Yeah, I guess when it all said and done, that's what it is. It's a matter of
Yeah,
that because we not moving the needle. We just kind of like
yeah,
we just throwing shit at the water. We just throwing stuff at each other. We not really making no progress. So I think that's just in a nutshell. I would just label it communication breakdowns. I don't like communication breakdowns. You know what I'm saying? And I actually find myself calling those out, like when it's getting to a point to where like you're not hearing me, I'm not hearing you. I say, look, we having a communication breakdown right now. And this particular thing is referred to my relationship. Like that's just something that I do. I like to call out when I'm in my right mind to actually like identify and realize what's starting to happen. You know, because you start off gradually in the conversation, and then somebody get triggered, somebody say something that was offensive or something, and then it's like boom, now it's a whole different story. So I just
right.
communication breakdown.
Yeah, man, and you know a lot of these things are, and that's kind of your first time really going through your trick, and I'm sure you're gonna figure out a lot more as you kind of feel
Yeah.
through it or whatever. And that kind of brings me to our next point of, once you start figuring through it, and you gotta talk about it a lot, like it's
Mhm.
almost like an episode 3 of triggers, and episode 3 of
Mhm.
triggers on my whatever inadequacy feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because this is a story of your life. This is a book. This is a movie. This is a TV show. Some of us be more invested into other people's lives than we be at our own, and we be
We know
wondering why
everything
we
about
can't.
somebody else.
Right. And we be wondering why you can't. You wonder why you can't maneuver because you so invested in other people's lives and you ain't even caught up on the next episode of Coke. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Facts.
don't even know
Real
like
talk.
like if somebody asks you what was going on in your life and you gotta sit there and you gotta buffer for a while. Like, dang, what is going on in my life? But I knew what happened on the
Like me
next
just now.
Housewives of Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's first thing first, right? You get through that stuff and you normalize it. You normalize that growth. You normalize watching you over prioritizing your life and your stuff that you have going on more than other people, and then you start to attach meanings to it, and attach new assignments to it, and that's how you start to heal from it and grow from it, right? Like I said, when we was talking
Okay.
about earlier, right? Like I didn't think that stopping and enjoying myself was worthy of the mission or was even part of the mission. I had
Mhm.
to attach and this, it was kind of a trigger for me when people would even ask me like, "Hey, you want to go out?" No, man. Like I don't have no there's no stability here. Why am I going out when I don't have no stability? Why am I going out when the mission ain't even half complete? Right? Like I get upset. Like me and my lady, that was kind of pain point because she like you need to relax, bro. Like you need to can we go somewhere to woo? You know? And I'm like, man, I don't want to do that. So I had to assign a new meaning to it, right? To now it's part of the mission. Now if I don't do it, then I'm failing the mission now. You know what I'm saying? I grew from it. Now it's no longer a button for me. Now it's, hey, you may need to take a break so we can. Oh, okay, cool. I'm about to jeopardize the mission. Let's do it right now. You know what I'm saying? Let's schedule that next thing. You know what I'm saying? So what you think about that, man? What is how can you relate to that?
Man, first I want to say this. I want to say that this gotta be the closest thing that I have to therapy, and this is us building this and formulating this community. And I can't wait till it get to a point where we actually start attracting people on the same mission, and then we can all kind of help and share our common experiences to where we can help each other through our own experiences. Because right now, outside of our close environment, it's just me and you. You know what I'm saying? We lean on each other a lot. But I would say this is one of the closest things I have to therapy. Just being able to come here, speak, vent whenever I need to, and just be transparent here in this space. So I'm thankful for to have that for sure. But I would say, how can I relate to that? I think to touch on something I said earlier about reassigning meaning, I think that is extremely significant. And I think the way that our value system is set up, that was passed down, that we inherited, it comes with meaning already. Or even, maybe not even, because maybe the way that we interpreted it, we placed our own meaning on it based off of us doing the best that we could do of actually making sense of what we was experiencing. But definitely something that is super duper necessary is actually redefining what it is. You had to, in your example, you had to, listen to what your partner was saying and see that, okay, hold on, I'm supposed to be doing something for us, but what I'm choosing to do, and I'm thinking is to help us, is really doing more damage right now than, me not just doing these certain little things. It's really doing more harm not doing them than it would to actually do them. You know what I'm saying? And incorporate that. And so it just that's the story of my personal development, is reassigning meaning to my past, to the things that I have experienced in past relationships, with maybe my parents, with my partner maybe, or whatever. It's just anything that I've ever felt was wrong, or anything that I've experienced that was upsetting, that was a traumatic experience for me, is redefining the meaning. And so it got to the point to where I do that in real time now. First thing first, man, I'm gonna say this, bro, I still don't even fully know the full reason about the why, but when after the hurricane hit in Houston, I posted up at the barbershop because the barbershop had lights, right? And my crib ain't have lights, so we posted up at the barbershop and we chilling overnight. Unbeknownst to me, one of the two. Where I work at, the HOA rule and regulations is there's a no overnight policy, and I wasn't on a no tow list, so my car got towed the night of the damn hurricane, the night that the hurricane hit, right? So that was extremely unfortunate event that occurred, and it was very it was not planned. You know what I'm saying? And anybody know about getting your car towed in Houston, that's damn near automatic $300. So, and that's just depending on where they take your car, and so, but what I did was, man, two things I didn't do. I didn't even tell my lady because I didn't want her to be worried or upset or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't bother waking her up. I ain't bother doing none of that. I said, man, look, you good? I'll let her sleep. And secondly, I just got to work. I got on the phone, communicated, found out where the spot was at, boom. And above all, I was just thankful that I had the means, of course, to just go get my car and let it be done, you know. And now, after I did that, I got on a no-tool list, so I don't really have to worry about that happening again if they do their job and check the damn no-tool list. But all in all, I had to just, and that when it wasn't so much a redefining the meaning of it, it was more so just choosing a focal point so that I don't have to go back and redefine the meaning of something that affected me. I was able to just change the perception of the experience in real time while it was happening. And so, yeah, I know that was super duper.
That's next level, bro. That's next level.
That was super duper long-winded, but yeah, just to kind of like, you know, add on to what you were saying. But
yeah, man. I think the conclusion of what you said is, or what hit me the most is once you catch up, once you catch up with all the other stuff that you got and redefine the meaning of those, you get to a place where you can just start redefining meaning in real time. Like, and it starts to take seconds. Like, hey, I could be upset about this. I can feel like, man, why I didn't do. Like, I learned yesterday that narcissistic behavior is kind of like making stuff about you. Like, what did I do to make this happen? Like, who said, like, and nobody even said that. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you making it about you, making it personal? Don't take it personal. Take the lesson, though. But if your name was Torrid, Kevin, Michelangelo, your car would have got told that day. Period. So it's a lesson for anybody to learn. You can pick it up or you can leave it, right? So I'm going to go ahead on and take that and shape this so I won't have to go back later. That is awesome, right? That's next level, bro. And that is where we want to go. That's where we want to get to. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I think that was amazing, bro. I think that was amazing. Man. Now we ain't finished. You know what I'm saying? My man's told. My man's got some fire Q&A. Well, we got the Q. I mean, we got the Q's. We got the A's. You heard it.
And sing like a ring. Yeah, man. So, and I got the questions posted in the private chat too, Cole. So you can roll a couple of them out too. But I'll open up with the first one. The first Q&A question is, what is a skill you've always wanted to learn and why? And then I'll answer. You go ahead on and answer it first, and then I'll follow.
All right. I think, to be honest, man, it might be corny, but like a skill that I want to learn is how to learn faster. Always been my thing, just because of it's been attached to my makeup, my childhood. Like, cause I feel like I always learn slower. This is guy. His name is Jim Quick, and he had like a brain injury, and that's his thing. And he normalizes learning on a high level. Like, he will go through a crowd and learn 100 names and recite 100 names back to everybody.
Was it the guy on the TED Talk? He did that. He did like a TED Talk on. There was this guy. He did a TED Talk on that, and he told everybody in the crowd. He was like, "Tell me your name, a name and number, name and age, or something like that." And everybody gave name and age, and he went in reverse and did everybody name and age, and he was talking about how to remember stuff. That was a TED Talk.
He probably did. He's a Asian guy. Really smart. And he had a brain defect when he was smaller, and he didn't take no for an answer, man. So something I really want to learn is how to learn faster. I think that is, I think that's the skill of all skills, and with that skill, you can learn more skills. It's like the. I feel like it's like the wish thing. If you had a wish, what would you wish for? Like about 1,000 other wishes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you, man? What's a skill that you've always wanted to learn and why?
Oh man, skill. Okay, well, I would say a skill that I've always wanted to learn, and a skill that I've kind of started learning is the skill of playing the piano. I mean, cause I'm deeply like passionate about two instruments in my life that I said I want to learn I want to master these instruments, and that's the piano and the violin. I actually own a keyboard and I own a violin. I started self-teaching myself the violin, but that's a whole nother story because that ain't nothing to play with. That's one of the hardest instruments to learn how to play. But that piano, that's my number one. Yeah, skills that I want to develop.
Wow, yeah, he capping though. That nigga could play like 3 songs. You know what I'm saying? Like he could play about 3 songs.
On the violin.
No, on the piano.
Oh, how I'm capping? I'm capping like I don't know how to play. I'm capping that I do know how to play.
I'm sorry if I didn't hear you correctly, but it sounded like you kind of know how to play. It sounded like you said something like that. But
yeah, I mean that's kind of what I said. I said one skill that I want to develop and learn is how to play the piano. Is to play the piano, but I said I already kind of started learning how to play it. But
that boy got the Beethoven on deck and everything. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't got that Beethoven.
Yeah. All right, man. So number 2, if you can live in a fictional world, which one would you choose and why?
Yeah. Fictional world. Yeah. I don't know why Harry Potter was the first thing that come to my mind, but that probably be really, really interesting. A fictional world. It'll probably I think that'll be cool. But if not that, I would say probably like the Transformers type of thing, because I don't know. I'm a car dude. Like I love cars. And I actually have daydreamed about being in a damn transformer car. It's crazy how they transform and people still be in them and they be
right. All you need is a transform, whatever car you want. All you need is a transform, whatever car you want. That's good. Don't even worry about it.
It's gone.
Listen.
That'll be mine. What about yours?
Tomorrow I'm gonna bring my lady on a date. I need you to go ahead and look at Miss Pete yard and get that Rolls Royce from out of there. Huh? That's fire.
I feel like I know what you're gonna say.
I think that
I'll let you know.
I the first thing that comes to my mind, because this is one of my favorite cartoons or like TV shows growing up, was like Jimmy Neutron. Jimmy Neutron was man, that's like the world technology. My man's had a secret lab basement in the bottom that he did whatever he wanted to do in that thing.
Whatever he wanted to do, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like my man took the rocket, went off to space, fought the aliens. That was an adventure.
Yeah.
It's just I think what I liked about it the most childhood wise was just the freedom, that his sense of freedom that he had, right?
Yeah.
Like he would, and his, even some of his inventions was in the house.
Yeah.
Like I think he had the toaster invention and stuff, like the support that his family had with him. You know, I think I kind of longed for that as a child. Like I wanted to create stuff and then, have the support of the creations, right? So it's just whatever. That's my answer. I'm gonna stick with it, right?
Yes, sir. All right, so where we at? Number 2 with it. It said, what's a small gesture from a stranger that made a big impact on you? Small gesture from a stranger that made a big impact on
you. Man.
That one almost kind of tough, huh?
It's tough, but I have some. I've had a couple of. I really cannot think of it.
Not a small gesture. Kind of big. I'm trying to see somebody just kind of give you some words of wisdom and you'll just carry that throughout the rest of your life, and it'd be small. It's just like a quote. I'm just trying to think about.
I don't know. I don't really have any small gestures. I had big gestures. Like I had got myself into some trouble a long time ago, maybe like 2016, 2017. And I had a lawyer who I never met. It was my first time I was in this kind of situation, so I even had to get a lawyer in the first place. And I'm like, man, I'm about to work overtime to pay this dude and to get out of this trouble. And he was like, man, you're a good kid, you're a good guy. You definitely made a mistake, but this is your first time doing that. A couple of cases out the year, I do pro bono. I'm going to do yours pro bono. And he did that for me, man.
Awesome.
And that was major to me at the time, because at the time, like, that was one of the times when I was like in like a dark moment, and I'm feeling like I feel like, man, you stupid, man. Why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, my language was tore up for myself. And for somebody to see that in me, like, I didn't think I was a good person just because of that. Like, and I didn't think I was just a good person because I was just focusing on what was going on around me in real time, and not who I was in the inside, like my actual character. Like, I wasn't really a bad person. I was just I seen something that made sense and I went for it, right? In it of itself, that's kind of really what it was. And maybe he's seeing that, but my man didn't have to do that, right? And that's like, that was not a small gesture, but that was a big gesture that had an impact on me. You know what I'm saying?
That's hard.
Yeah. What about you, man?
I think I don't know if I could top that. Not that I want to top it, not a competition, but I'm just saying.
I kind of broke the rules. Man. They said small gesture. I didn't throw out something.
Nah, because I can't nothing that really come to mind, man. I feel like I have something in there like hidden. That I feel like I have something in there that's hidden that subconsciously is still live through. I still live through that to this day, but I just can't recall.
Right. Well, let's put it on hold, man. If you think about something during our next question, then you could just kind of bring it up.
Now I got something now. I don't mean to drag it out.
Yeah, no, I know you got something. Just
Let me see. Yeah, so I guess we can put that one on pause for worthy cause. So let's go to number 4. Cole, what we got?
Listen, if you could have dinner with a historical figure, who would it be, and what would you ask him? That's a good question.
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Alright, so I guess it's on me, huh?
What would you ask?
Who would it be? Who would it be, and what would I ask him? What would it be? What would I ask him? So initially, when I seen the question earlier, for some reason Harriet Tubman came up in my mind because of
that's my answer, bro.
Ah, look at that.
That's crazy.
So it was because of I've heard what's in the history books of the story of Harriet Tubman.
That's wild.
But then I've also heard an alternative story that's kind of like from the black folk, like, who really know the history for real, and like with her friend, the slaves, and different things like that, and how that went. So I guess it would just, if I was to go that route, it'd just be me asking her for confirmation on, like, what was the real story, like, how did that really go? And so that's my answer. I'm gonna stick with it. But when you asked me the question just now, for some reason Martin Luther King came to my mind, and that was inspired from like just how E.T. referred to him. But go ahead.
Right. Man, that's wild. I feel like I wouldn't have guessed you would have did Harriet Tubman for real. But a lot of my things is, which actually comes from E.T. And he kind of explained it was a concept of people want to, like, man, how did she do 500 miles, like, or 5,000 or whatever it was that she did? How'd you do that?
10,000 miles, something. It was something crazy.
Multiple times she's walking back and she's doing these miles and freeing these slaves. And he's like, man, the thing is not like, you worried about the wrong thing. You thinking about the 500 miles. By that time, she was good. What's important is the first 100 miles that she did when she did it the first time. That was the hardest, absolutely the hardest, right? And I want to ask her, how was the first mission? What was going through your mind, and what drove you in that time, you know, what got you from A to B mentally, you know what I'm saying? You know, with that first 100 miles, man, because that's always gonna be the hardest, right? It's always the start, and like it's always the start and the man. What if I get this done? What if I? Because you don't have any examples, right? You may do this thing, you may not. Like we know now that not doing it is just failing, but you know, maybe she stopped, maybe she dropped at some point and was like, man, I don't know if I can do this. That could have happened, you know. And I would want to know that as an example to fuel my passion for being an example. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I like that. Yeah, but you know what? Well, I'm gonna let that breathe. I'm gonna let that breathe.
Yeah,
but
man.
without further ado,
take us out too. Take us out the game,
man.
girl.
Look, man, listen to me. Thank y'all for joining us for another beautifully blessed, peaceful, prosperous, productive, and phenomenally powerful night. You dig? We are in the building. You know what I'm saying? Tori the Barber, FreeWill Co. We coming up here every week. You know what I'm saying? To create that environment so that we can all become the best versions of ourselves. Create an environment where we can be empowered while we peel back the layers of our past, of our traumas, of you know, and we just reconstruct ourselves in real time in front of the people and just normalize that being real, being authentic. You know what I'm saying? Getting back in touch with our authentic selves. But thank y'all for being the best part of FreeWill podcast. And with that being said, one more thing, Cole. I tricked you. I tricked you.
Yeah.
This is part one, because we're going to finish this conversation. We're going to finish this conversation. So this is actually part one of the what happened to you. So the next week when we drop, we're going to be following up with the part two of the what happened to you concept, the conversation on that. You dig? But now I can formally sing y'all out. Thank y'all for being the best part of FreeWill podcast. We will see y'all next Friday. For real, 8:30 Central Time. Don't meet us there. Beat us there.
Huh?
We out.